Stick around, because by the end of this, you're going to look at your backyard differently. You're standing in your backyard at night, and something is watching you. You can't see it, you can't hear it move, but it sees every twitch of your hand. It hears your heartbeat shift when you get nervous. Here's the twist most people never expect. That creature isn't hunting you. It's using a system built into its skull that no other animal on Earth has perfected the same way. A system so precise, it can find a heartbeat under a foot of snow, in total darkness, without ever using its eyes. Tonight we're taking that system apart, piece by piece, and by the end you'll never think about silence the same way again. Let's go back to the beginning. Not human beginning, its beginning. Picture a barn, old wood, cracked beams, dust hanging in whatever light gets through the gaps. Nothing moves, nothing breathes as far as you can tell. Then, up in the rafters, two eyes open. Barn owls don't live like the birds you're used to. Most birds build their whole world around daylight. Barn owls flipped that script a long time ago. Their entire existence runs on the hours when everyone else has gone quiet. And that's exactly the problem they had to solve, because when the sun goes down, eyesight stops being reliable. Even an owl's eyes, and they're incredible by the way, built to gather light most animals couldn't use at all. Even those eyes hit a wall in true darkness. So here's the question that should be bothering you right now. How does something hunt successfully, night after night, in conditions where seeing isn't an option? You'd think the answer is better eyes. It's not. The answer is something most people overlook completely, because it's not about the eyes at all, it's about the ears. Now stop and picture your own ears for a second. Go on, touch them. They're level, right? Same height, same position, mirror images of each other. A barn owl's ears are not. One sits slightly higher on the skull, the other sits slightly lower. It's not an accident, and it's not a deformity. It's one of the most quietly brilliant designs in the animal kingdom, and almost nobody talks about it. Here's why it matters. When a sound reaches you, it hits both your ears at almost the same instant, from almost the same angle. Your brain has to work hard to figure out exactly where that sound came from. That's why, in total darkness, you can hear something moving, but you can't always point straight at it. A barn owl doesn't have that problem, because its ears sit at different heights. A sound from below reaches the lower ear a fraction of a second before it reaches the higher one. A sound from above does the opposite. That tiny gap, smaller than the blink of an eye, becomes a three-dimensional map. Height, direction, distance. All of it. Built from timing differences too small for you to ever consciously notice. Think about what that means. Somewhere under 6 inches of snow, a small creature shifts its weight. Just a rustle, just a heartbeat. And 40 feet above, in complete darkness, something locks onto that exact spot, like it was marked with a flashing sign. This is the source of the system, not the eyes, not the claws, the ears, and the brain wired specifically to decode them. Have you ever felt like you were being watched by something you couldn't see? Now you know what that feeling actually is, biologically speaking. It's not imagination. It's a creature running a scan on you that you have absolutely no way of detecting. And we haven't even gotten to the part that really changes everything, how it gets close enough to use that system without you ever knowing it arrived. If you're already learning something new here, do me a favor and hit like. It genuinely helps this story reach more people who'd want to hear it. So the owl knows exactly where you are, down to the inch. But knowing where something is doesn't help if you announce yourself getting there. This is where things get almost unfair. Most birds, when they fly, create a rush of turbulent air rolling off the back edge of their wings. That's what causes the whooshing sound you hear when a pigeon takes off close to you. It's air being disturbed violently, all at once. A barn owl's wings are built to prevent that from ever happening. Look closely at the edge of one of its flight feathers, and I mean really closely, and you'll find a row of tiny comb-like fringes almost like the teeth of a zipper. Most bird feathers have a smooth, hard edge. This one doesn't. Those fringes break up the airflow before it ever becomes turbulent. Instead of one big rush of air, the sound gets scattered into frequencies so high and so quiet, most predators, and every one of us, simply can't process them. On top of that, the surface of the wing itself is covered in something almost velvet-like. Soft. Absorbent. It swallows whatever tiny sound is left before it can reach the air at all. The result? A hunting flight that produces close to zero detectable sound. Not quiet, not hard to hear. Functionally, for almost every creature on the ground below, silent. This is a technical diagnostic worth sitting with for a second. Two separate systems, one for hearing everything, one for making nothing, running at the same time in the same animal every single night. What most people overlook is that this isn't just impressive, it's terrifying if you're small enough to be on the menu, because it means the last thing many creatures ever sense is nothing at all. But here's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. That perfect system, it comes at a cost. Building ears precise enough to hear a heartbeat under snow, and feathers soft enough to erase sound entirely. That trade-off shows up somewhere else in the owl's life. Something no one in history experienced quite the way this bird does. Those same soft fringed feathers that make silent flight possible are also fragile. They don't shed water well. A barn owl caught in heavy prolonged rain can struggle to fly at all and struggle to stay warm. In a hard winter, when prey burrows deep and stays hidden, that same specialist toolkit, built for stealth, not brute force, can leave a barn owl with very few backup options. This is a species that bet everything on one extraordinary skill, and when the environment shifts against it, a harsh season, a lost habitat, prey that's harder to find, there's no plan B built into the biology, no alternate strategy waiting in reserve. It's a natural cycle that plays out in the wild constantly. The same specialization that makes a creature nearly unbeatable in ideal conditions can become the very thing that makes survival fragile when conditions turn. That's not a flaw, it's the price of being this good at one specific thing, and it's why, in the wild, so many of these encounters end in a tragic end that has nothing to do with a rival predator, and everything to do with weather, habitat loss, or a season that simply didn't cooperate. What if your survival depended on being completely silent, completely precise, every single night, without a single mistake? That's not a metaphor for this bird. That's Tuesday. Wild, right? If this is changing how you see something you thought you already understood, that's exactly what this channel is here for. So let's bring this back to your backyard. Because everything we just walked through, the mismatched ears, the silent wings, the fragile trade-off underneath all that power, it's not locked away in some remote wilderness. It's happening in barns, in old sheds, in the gap behind your garage, in the hollow of a tree at the edge of your yard. If you've ever felt that prickle on the back of your neck at dusk, that sense that something is watching from just outside what you can see, there's a real chance you were right. Not because something wanted to harm you, owls have no interest in you at all, but because you walked, unknowingly, straight through the middle of someone else's hunting ground. And for a moment, that built-in scanning system, the one shaped by millions of years of solving the exact same problem over and over, briefly locked onto the loudest, clumsiest, most detectable creature in the whole yard. You, every rustle you make, every breath, every footstep on dry grass. To you, it's silence. To that system in the dark, it's a floodlight. Here's what I keep coming back to the more I dig into this. We spend so much energy trying to build better sensors, better night vision, better ways to detect what's hidden in the dark. And this bird solved that exact problem, with two ears set at different heights, and feathers soft enough to erase their own sound. No wires, no lenses, no power source but a heartbeat. This changes everything about how I think of simple animals versus advanced technology. Because sometimes the most advanced system in the room isn't the one plugged into anything. It's the one sitting silently in the rafters, patient, precise, running a scan you'll never even know happened. So next time you're out there at night and you get that feeling, that unmistakable sense that you're not alone, don't be afraid of it. Understand it. Because now you know exactly what's happening. You know the mismatched ears, you know the fringed feathers, you know the trade-off hiding underneath all of it. You're not being hunted, you're being read. And honestly, that might be even more incredible. So tell me, if you found out one of these was watching your backyard tonight, would that scare you? Or would it fascinate you? Drop your answer below. I read every single one. And if this is the kind of mystery you want more of, the kind hiding in plain sight, right outside your window, you know what to do. I'll see you in the next one.